The opposite sex is not your enemy. Your unhealed pattern is. Men and women were not meant to spend their lives fighting each other. They were meant to walk together, build together, protect together, challenge each other, repair with each other, grow beside each other, journey through life together. But something has gone terribly wrong, because now so many men and women do not meet each other as partners. They meet each other as threats. A man walks into the relationship carrying every time he felt criticized, rejected, controlled, disrespected, used, or made to feel not enough. A woman walks into the relationship carrying every time she felt abandoned, unheard, unsafe, lied to, emotionally starved, or treated like an option. And now the person in front of them is not just a person. They become a symbol of the wound, a symbol of the past, a symbol of every man who did not protect, a symbol of every woman who did not respect, a symbol of every time love became pain. And this is where the war begins. Not because men and women are enemies, but because unhealed nervous systems start calling each other the enemy. Fear meets fear. Ego meets ego. Old wounds meet old wounds. Avoidance meets anxiety. Pride meets pride. And then people wonder why love feels like a battlefield. Listen carefully. The opposite sex is not your enemy. Your unmanaged fear is the enemy. Your ego is the enemy. Your unexamined pattern is the enemy. Your refusal to repair is the enemy. But most people do not want to hear that. It is easier to blame men. It is easier to blame women. It is easier to say, all men are like this. It is easier to say, all women are like that. It is easier to build a courtroom than to build self-awareness. So men bring their evidence. Women bring their evidence. Men say women are too emotional. Women say men are too avoidant. Men say women are never satisfied. Women say men do not know how to love. Men say women only want security. Women say men only want access. And everyone becomes a prosecutor. Nobody becomes a healer. This is what happens when pain is not examined. Pain starts collecting evidence. Pain wants to prove its case. Pain wants to be right. Pain wants the whole gender convicted. But love cannot survive in a courtroom. A relationship is not supposed to be a trial. It is not supposed to be two people standing across from each other saying, "Look what your kind did." It is supposed to be two adults standing beside each other saying, "What pattern are we bringing into this room, and how do we stop it from destroying what we are trying to build?" That is maturity. That is Stoicism. That is emotional command. Because the Stoic does not blame an entire sex for the wound he refuses to examine. He does not use his past as a weapon against the person in front of him. He does not say, "Because I was hurt, I now have permission to punish." No. The Stoic asks the harder question: what am I bringing into this connection? What fear is governing me? What story am I defending? What wound am I asking this person to pay for? What pattern do I keep repeating while calling it protection? This is the question modern dating avoids. Modern dating teaches people to protect their image. Keep options open. Never care too much. Never look weak. Get the upper hand. Win the breakup. Detach first. Use them before they use you. Do not need anyone. But love cannot survive when both people are trying not to lose. Love is not a power contest. Love is not a manipulation game. Love is not a stage where two damaged egos perform independence while secretly starving for connection. Love requires truth. Love requires humility. Love requires two people who can say, "I was hurt, but I also have work to do." That is the missing piece. Men and women are not failing because attraction disappeared. They are failing because regulation disappeared. They are failing because repair disappeared. They are failing because accountability disappeared. They are failing because people want intimacy without vulnerability, connection without responsibility, sex without discernment, loyalty without character, and peace without truth. That cannot build a home. That builds resentment. That builds eggshells. That builds silence. That builds two people living beside each other while their nervous systems are at war. And then they say, the opposite sex is the problem. No. The pattern is the problem. The unhealed wound is the problem. The ego that cannot apologize is the problem. The fear that turns every hard conversation into an attack is the problem. The avoidant who disappears instead of repairing is part of the problem. The anxious person who chases instead of regulating is part of the problem. The person who lies is part of the problem. The person who ignores evidence because chemistry feels good is part of the problem. The person who wants love but refuses accountability is part of the problem. This is not about blaming men. This is not about blaming women. This is about growing up. Because men and women were meant to complement each other, not control each other, not prosecute each other, not use each other, not punish each other for wounds created by someone else. Real partnership requires a different standard. Two people who can tell the truth without turning truth into war. Two people who can hear discomfort without punishment. Two people who can repair after conflict. Two people who can hold boundaries without calling boundaries rejection. Two people who can say, "I need space, but I am not disappearing." Two people who can say, "I am hurt, but I will not make my hurt your prison." Two people who can say, "I disagree, but I will not leave the room emotionally." That is safe love. Safe love is not perfect love. Safe love is repairable love. And before you build with anyone, you must ask better questions. Not, are they attractive? Not only, do we have chemistry? Not only, do they make me feel wanted? Ask, can they repair? Can they tell the truth? Can they handle no? Can they respect pace? Can they take ownership? Can they talk about their past without blaming everyone? Can they stay present when conflict enters the room? Can they build without making me walk on eggshells? Because attraction opens the door, but regulation decides whether the house can stand. Chemistry may bring two people together, but character decides whether love can survive real life. Men and women were meant to journey life together, but ego turns the journey into a trial. Fear turns love into a battlefield. Pain turns the partner into the enemy. And by the time both people finish proving their wounds, nobody is left to build the home. So stop asking, why are men like this? Stop asking, why are women like this? Ask the better question, what pattern is turning love into war? Because the opposite sex is not your enemy. Your unexamined pattern is. Heal the pattern. Repair the leak. Then love can stop being a battlefield and become a journey again. That is a leak. A leak is any repeated pattern that drains your energy, weakens your judgment, and makes you easier to govern by fear, approval, ambiguity, or stimulation. Take the free nervous system audit. Stop guessing. Name the leak beneath the pattern. Send us your comments to get started on the nervous system audit.